a Time stories from Leicester Libraries Neighbourhood Services. I'm Sandy, and the story I'm going to share with you is Black Annis. Now, Black Annis was a witch from the Dane Hills in Leicester, and everybody knows she liked to eat children. But she only came out at night, and when the town clock struck boom, midnight 12, she was banished back to her cave underground. Now, there were 3 children living near those Dane Hills in those days, and their names were Jim and Jem and little Jonty, and they lived with their dad and their Aunt Em. Dad was out at work, but Aunt Em was home with the children, and it was a cold day, and they'd had the fire on all day and were nearly out of wood. So Aunt Em said, "Go on, you lot, make yourselves useful. Go out there and get some sticks for the fire, and don't come back until you've got a sackful." So, even though it was late, out went the children into the cold, late afternoon air. And they walked, and they walked, and they walked, and they walked up into the Dane Hills, looking for a stick here and some wood there, putting them in their sack. And they walked so far, they forgot the way home. And Jim looked up and saw the sun had gone down, and it was getting dark, and he said, "Oh, we'd better go back. Black Annis will be out, and she'll catch us and eat us." So the children turned round, but they didn't really know the way back. And then Jem stopped, and she said, "Listen, I think I can hear something." And she was right. It was a grind noise. "That's Black Annis grinding her teeth. She smelled us out. She's come out of her cave. She'll get us." And the children started to run down the hill. Jim reached in his pocket and pulled out a stone with a hole in it, which, as everyone knows, is magic for seeing in the dark. And he looked through that stone and, "Oh, it is Black Annis," said Jim. "Quick, run faster." So the children ran and ran and ran, but they only had child-sized legs, and Black Annis was tall, and her long, skinny legs ran faster, and now they could hear the slap, slap, slap of her bare feet on the hard ground. "Do something," said Jim. So Jem reached into her pocket, and she found a mirror, a little toy mirror, and she shut her eyes and she threw that mirror over her shoulder, and when it landed on the ground, it turned into a big puddle of water. "That'll stop her," said Jem. "She can't go under it. She can't go over it. Witches can't go through water. She'll have to go round it." And she was right. Black Annis had to go all the way around the puddle, and the children ran on fast down the hills. But Black Annis's legs were long, and soon the children could hear the grinding of her teeth again, and the slap, slap, slap of those bare feet on the hard ground. And Jem turned to little Jonty and said, "What's in your pockets? Do something." So little Jonty, he felt in his pockets, and there was a comb, and he shut his eyes and he threw the comb over his shoulder, and when it landed on the ground, it turned into a huge bramble patch, thorny and sharp. And little Jem said, "Well, that'll stop her. She can't go through it. Ouch! She can't go under it. She can't go over it. She'll have to go round it." And he was right. But Black Annis, she crept her way around those thorny brambles, and soon she was catching up with the children again. And Jim grabbed hold of little Jonty and put him on his shoulder, and he grabbed hold of Jem's hand, and they tore down those hills and into the streets, and there was their house at the end of the street, and the door was open, and Dad was waiting, and Auntie Em But Black Annis was stretching her legs and her long skinny arms, and she reached for the children, and she would have caught them, but bong! Just then the town clock struck 12 midnight, and Black Annis, she was banished back to her cave underground, and the children fell into the house, and Dad gave them a big hug, and Auntie Em, well, Auntie Em, she never sent the children out gathering wood in the Dane Hills again. So that was the story of Black Annis, a real Leicester witch. And if you like that story, see if you can go and share it with someone else. Bye.